Okay, Matrix. So I know that I did not get to these drawings before June. This is still part of the June 2024 examination. Sometimes things get a little busy and I do apologize for that. But I'm going to finish it now so that by the time finals come around, it should be done. Obviously, we'll see how many I get to, but I'm going to try to get to all of them, but I'm making no promises. I'm going to just try my best. Okay, so we've got here question 3, perspective, and it says 3 views of a building and the information needed to draw a 2-point perspective drawing. The picture plane, the horizon line, the ground line, and the station point. Okay, complete the perspective drawing. Align the drawing sheet with the ground line. Determine and label the vanishing points. Show all construction. Show depth at the door and window, and no interior detail is required, which is a lovely requirement to not have to worry about interior details. Okay, so this one is quite an interesting one because you can see that it looks simple, but it's quite technical in some ways. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to just start off by getting our vanishing points. And how you do that is you take your ruler and you find the angles that it is sitting at. So in this case, it is sitting at a 45 degrees. So we're going to, from the SP, draw a 45-degree line onto the picture plane and then down onto the horizon line. Okay, over here, and that gives us our right vanishing point. And then we have got the SP point, the station point, 45-degree up to the picture plane, and then down onto the horizon line to give us our left vanishing point. Okay, so you can see just like that. Now, the next step would be to get your lines that are touching the picture plane straight down. So in our case, it will be this line over here, and it will be this line over here. Okay, just like this over here. Now, we're going to start with the roof. So if you're confused at the layout or the orientation of this drawing, I don't blame you because it is a little bit interesting. So let's try to orientate ourselves a little bit and then we'll get started. So you can see that this roof here it's got quite a bit of an overhang over the wall is this block here. Okay, we've got steps, which is part of this circle thing or the circle step. Then we've got our pavement, which is this here, and you can obviously see the pavement on the sides over here. Then we have got a sort of a sloped roof here, which you can see it's this here, and you can see part of the slopes. And you've got a sloped roof here that there's no overhang, whereas in this one there is an overhang. Okay, so we're going to start off by getting this roof in because there's no overhang, and it's going to just help us get started. So when you need to get a height line, you're going to take the height line and you're always going to place it on a line that touches the picture plane and thus touches the ground line. So here we're going to have a roof line here. Okay, this roof line here. What we are then going to do is we're going to take it to our RVP. Okay, so I'm going to take it from this point to the RVP, just like this over here. Okay, and then we can see that we have also got the back points here. So obviously you know the drill with perspective. Every time we want to get the length of something, we take the point down to the station point or the SP point, we bring it down onto the picture plane, and then we transfer it down onto the line that we need it to be on. Okay, now I know that part of the requirement for the perspective drawing is that all construction is shown. However, I'm not going to do that because it is difficult for you guys to sometimes see what I'm doing, and I apologize for that. I also have had comments here and there just asking that I fix the sound. I am going to try get a microphone as soon as possible, but just bear with me for now. Okay, so we've got this side here now. Now we want to get the slope and the side that goes this way. So we know that this side is pointing in the left direction. So we're going to take this point here to our LVP. just like this over here. Okay, then the end of that roof ends underneath this overhang here. So that is actually this point here. So we are going to take this point down here, and we are going to take the point down to this point here. Okay, then from that length over there, we are going to draw a line going up, because we obviously know we want to get this top point here for the slope. We're going to bring that point across to this point here, so that we can take it to the LVP. So if we do that, we will have a line going like that. Okay, now we basically can draw in our triangle. So essentially we know that we have the slope from this point downwards like this, and like that over there, and then we've got a point here as well. Okay, and then from this corner we are going to go down to the RVP. Okay, once we've got that, we're going to grab the back point over here. We're going to bring that down onto our picture plane, and then we're going to drop it onto the roof point over here. Okay, then once you have done that, I'm going to leave this roof line open because obviously we've got an overhang, and then I'm going to connect these 2 points and these 2 points over here. Okay, so done and dusted. Now we want to get the wall in. So if we have a look at the wall, we can see that we've got the wall over here, we've got some steps, and we can obviously see that it's quite flat here. So it goes down, well, goes from here straight down. So from here, we're going to just draw a line going to the RVP so that we get sort of our baseline. Okay, and then from there we have got the house line going down like that. Okay, once we have got that, we are going to take the height line up here for the steps so that we can obviously get the step line in. We're going to take that to our RVP. Okay, so we've got sort of our step guideline going in over there. Okay, then we're going to take this point here, because we obviously want to get where the wall stops to go straight down at that line over there. So we're going to take a wall line down to the SP, and we are then going to drop it straight down like that. Okay, and then we obviously know that we've got part of the pavement sticking out here, and then our circle section over here, which I'm not going to do just yet, just because it is a little bit complicated, and I would rather get the rest of the house in and then focus on the circle at the end. Okay, so now that we've got that in, it's just some smudging. We obviously want to get more of the house in. So we can see that part of this building's wall touches this building's wall, so at this point here. So we want to get that point so that we can have a place to start drawing our building walls. Okay, so we are going to take the corner to our LVP like that, and then we are going to take this point here down to the SP, and then obviously from there we'll bring it straight down. So from that point here we can make a solid line going down. All right, easy peasy so far. Now we know that we want to get this back rooms line in, so we are going to take because it's obviously going in the right direction, this point here, and we are going to draw it in the right direction. Now I'm going to go both forwards where we will see the wall and backwards where we won't see the wall, because we are probably going to need it for when we get our roof in. Okay, so now that that is sorted, let's get our wall corners in. We're going to take this corner to the SP, down like that, and then we're going to take this corner at the back here to the SP, down like that. Okay, once you've got both points, you're going to drop them on the line. So I'm going to do a line going up like that, and at this point a line going up like that. Okay, I want it to be a little bit lighter so that the house can stand up. Okay, now that we've got that in, let's get our height for our wall. So obviously we know that we may or may not see the wall based on what we see here with the overhang. So if we have a look, we can actually see that this height of the wall we won't see, or we will see actually, because it's at this point here. So let's get that height in. So we're going to take the height of the wall here, and we're going to take it onto this line here. Okay, because remember we need a line that's touching our picture plane in order to get our heights. Now the reason I'm choosing this line and not this line is because this line is where we started with our heights, and if you see all of the rest of the lines that we've made, we're going to have to follow a process to get lines to lines. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to extend this wall line here. The reason why is because when we bring the height across, we're going to need a wall line here so that it can be on this wall. Okay, so we're going to take this point all the way over to the right vanishing point so that it touches this wall here. Basically what we've done by doing this is we've taken the height that we've got on this line back to this line. From this line we're going to take it here, and from that line we're going to take it here, which will get it onto this wall line. Okay, so I hope that makes a bit of sense. Okay, so now we're going to take our left vanishing point and the point that we've just made, and we are going to go across like this, and where it touches this line is where we will make our mark. Okay, just like that. So we can see that it touches at this point here where the lines are intersecting, and now because we've got it going this way, we're going to go to our right vanishing point. So from here we're going to go to our right vanishing point, we're going to draw the height at this line all the way back to this line here, okay, where the building sits. So it might be a little bit light, so I'm going to try and make it a bit more visible, even though I don't want to make it too dark. Okay, so now we've got the height of that building in. Now, I don't want to draw in any extra solid lines until we've got our building drawn in. But now that we've done this, we can see that the overhang is not going to affect this roof line here. So we can draw this roof line in here as a solid roof line. Okay, now we're going to try get this roof line in, which is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Now the reason why it's going to be a challenge is because it's an overhang, and I know that overhang roofs can be a bit confusing. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically do what some of my students like to call it the parachute method. So we are going to take the overhang and we are going to drop it onto a single point. So you can see that I've dropped it onto that roof line. So now what we are going to do is a little bit of a complicated step. So let's actually do that corner and this corner just in case. So you can see that we've made sort of a square between these lines here. All right, okay, so now what we're going to do is from this line where we've made the wall, we're going to draw a line going forwards. Okay, so obviously that goes in the right vanishing point direction. So we're going to draw that and we're going to make a line going forwards, which you can see lands up on this line still. Okay, but now what we want to do is on that line we want to grab this point here, the one that we've made with parachutes, onto our picture plane, and then we are going to bring it down onto this part here. So essentially, I don't have a highlighter with me. Give me 1 second. I'm going to use a red pen to show you exactly what I'm mentioning. Okay, so basically what I mean is this point that we've just made is this point here. Okay, so obviously we've now got where the overhang sits, but now we need to get the line that it sits on. So if we have a look, it's going in this direction, which is our right vanishing point direction. So from this line here, we are going to make a line going to the right vanishing point. So you can see that it will go in this direction. It's sort of still sitting on the same plane as the line that we've just made. Okay, but now we can finally get the okay, we've got the line that it's working on. Just give me a second, my brain is working through everything. We've got it sticking out. We need to get it up. We've got it sticking out from there, but there's a height difference. Okay, we need to get the height that it's sitting on because obviously it's not going to be completely flush. So let's do that quickly. So we're going to do pretty much what we did to get the wall height. So we're going to take the height here onto our line over here, and we are going to do the same process. So we're going to go right vanishing point onto that line there, then we're going to go to the left vanishing point over here onto this line, and then from this line we are going to go, we've got it on this line here, we are going to go to the right vanishing point, which still is not making 100% sense. Just give me 1 second. Okay, my apologies, it's because I missed a line. So when you go to the right vanishing point and the left vanishing point, it's going to stop at this line here, okay, which is exactly why I was acting like a silly Billy. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take from that red point to the LVP. Okay, it's going, we've got, so we've got right, left, right. We're taking it to the right point. Okay, so there you can see we've got our height, this point here. I'm going to just circle it. We've just put this line here. Okay, so now that we're back on track, this part is the most complicated part. So it's going to be a little bit finicky because there's a lot of lines, and we want to get it done properly. Okay, so now we know we've got this point here, which I already said is this point here. Okay, now we want to get that point onto the line. So we've got that point which will go up onto the line. So it's pretty much already at that point, if that makes sense. From there, we are going to do our left vanishing point. No, our right vanishing point. Okay, we've already got it. So we've got the points here. Now, because we've got this line already, we can grab these edge points here to get the length or the edge of the roof. Okay, so we're going to take that down to the SP, and we're going to take that down to the SP. Okay, once we have done that, we're going to drop it on the line we've just made. So we've got one point there, and we've got the other point at this place over here. And I'm just going to make the line solid so that you guys can see exactly where we're working. And that's this point here. Okay, for that line there. Now we want to get this top line so that we can get the line in so far for our slope. So we are going to take this top line again onto this line here, and we're going to repeat the process. So we are going to go right vanishing point, then we are going to go to the left vanishing point until we are on this wall line here, and then from there we are going to go back to the right vanishing point. So it will be at this point here, and then we will have our roof height in. So if we draw that in, we will have our roof height. Okay, now we can get our walls in. So we obviously know that we've got the one wall here, so I'm going to draw that wall in over there, and then we've got the other wall in at this point here. Okay, so that wall can be drawn in as well. Okay, now that we've got our walls in, because nothing is touching this wall here in terms of a door or anything, we can draw this bottom platform as a solid line. So we've got that drawn in, and then we're going to go to the LVP, and then we're going to draw a line at this point here. Okay, and then down at the SP point here. Okay, and then we are going to get this line in over here. So you can see it looks quite short, skinny, but that's perfect. Okay, now we want to get lines in again. So we obviously want to get these 3 points in: the wall height, the roof line, and so on. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab what I think would make the most sense would be to grab these points first. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly drop this line here going down so that we've got it all level. Okay, so again, we're going to grab these 2 points across. So because there's so many points already, I'm just going to drop them in red so that we obviously know which points we're working with, and it might help you guys follow along. Okay, so, oh, that's on the wrong line. Oh gosh. Okay, this line here, why do I keep putting it on the wrong line? Okay, the middle red points. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to do the right vanishing point. Okay, luckily it's sort of in line with the last red point, right vanishing point. Okay, then we're going to go back forward onto the line where we've got our other red dot using our left vanishing. So we're going to go left vanishing and left vanishing here as well. Okay, then we're going to draw those lines, that line down so that we have our points anchored, and then we are going to draw our line using our left, our right onto the roof line that I've brought down. Okay, like that. And then we are going to go from that point to our left vanishing point. So we're going to have a point here and a point here. Okay, and now what we can do is we can grab the edge. Okay, and then we can drop it down onto this line here. Okay, and then we can connect our points to get our roof in. Okay, and then we can fill in this wall here. We also have obviously part of the overhang that's going in this right direction, so we're going to draw that in so that you can obviously see that we've got that as well. And now we can focus on getting the doors in, the windows in, and obviously our platform in as well. Okay, so because this wall here doesn't actually have a door, I don't know why I thought it did, we can make that solid. Okay, now we want to get our doors in. So we've obviously got our walls, and if we have a look here, we've got our wall as well. So we just want to grab our wall height so that we know where to see our wall, because I have not accounted for that. Okay, so we are going to grab the wall point onto the middle line. So let's do the middle line quickly, and then we are going to go right vanishing point, left vanishing point, right vanishing point, onto the wall, and then we're going to go left vanishing point. So it's at this point in the wall here. If we draw it up, it should look like that. And then obviously I've just got a little thing I need to fix. Okay, there we go. Okay, now let's get our wall, our door, and our window in. Okay, so we're going to take our window and door details down quickly so that when we bring them onto the page, we don't have to do this 1,000 times over. Okay, so we're going to go down, down, and our door we're going to do the same. So we're going to go down onto the floor and down onto the floor. Cool. Okay, then again we're going to get height lines. We're going to grab our door height and our window height. So thankfully the door and window height are the same, so we're going to just drop it on that middle line, and then I just want to get the under part of the window as well onto that line, which will give us, I don't know why is that so, that's that point there. Okay, then we've got those points over here. Okay, and then we're going to go to the right vanishing point, right vanishing point. Then we're going to go to the left vanishing point. Now where your lines are, if you want to, you can actually just draw your window solid, so you can see you got the line and the solid. And then for the bottom part of the window, you can do the same thing, and that way you'll have your window drawn in. Okay, and then we're going to just grab the top part of the window for our right vanishing point. So we're going to go onto the wall, and then we're going to go left, and we're going to go onto the wall, and then you can see that we have got our door drawn in. Okay, then we obviously want to get our thicknesses in, so similar process, we're going to go down to the SP and down to the SP. Now we're going to take the edges, so edge to the right vanishing point and our edge to the right vanishing point, and then we're going to take our thicknesses down. So we're going to go down, and our other thickness is going to go down as well. Okay, then you can see that we've got the door thickness in, and then for the window we will have our other thickness in. Okay, now the last bit that we need to do is our pavement. So let's get cracking on the pavement. We know that this pavement line is obviously touching the ground point, so we're going to start there by taking everything to the left vanishing point, and then we're going to go from there to the right vanishing point, and from this point where we also have our roof, we are not going to take anything just yet. Okay, so let's start here. Okay, first we're going to take our height, which now that we have got this ground line sorted, we can take our pavement height straight onto that line and not this one. And then we are going to draw to the LVP, and then we are going to draw pavement down from the LVP to the SP, or from the picture at the top down to the SP. And then we're going to bring that line down, and that's going to give us the height of our pavement. Okay, now we know that our pavement goes around the house. We're not going to see all of it, but we're going to draw as much as we will see. So we're going to go from, just double check that everything's correct here. Okay, from there we're going to go to our RVP, and it goes behind the house. Okay, and then we're going to draw the front part of the pavement that we are going to see but not touch down as well. Okay, then we're going to take these lines down to the RVP. We're going to grab this corner point here to the SP, and then we're going to drop it at that point here as a light line, and then from there we are going to go back to the LVP using that line. So we're going to have this bottom point at this line here, and this point at this line here, where we will obviously draw a line. So now we can draw in, no, let's not draw anything in yet. Let's get our circle. Okay, so now we want to get our circle in. So our circle is actually a half line. It's this half step that we're seeing here. So we're going to grab that half line and we're going to just put it on our line, and then we're going to just grab the height of it all across. So RVP, LVP, RVP. Okay, and then we're going to grab the edges of the circle. So we know the one edge is already here. We need to grab this edge as well. Down and onto our line over here. Cool. Okay, so now that we've got that in, I want to draw a square to work in because I think it makes things easier. So we're going to draw a square. Okay, so you can see our square here. Now we want to section our circle. So we want to start by grabbing our 60-degree set square, because obviously we're not going to be able to section it using any other points, but we're going to have 2 points. So we're going to have our 60 points and our 30 points and our 60 points. So it should look like this. I'm going to just make the lines red so that you can obviously see what we are looking at and working on. Okay. So we've got our lines over there. Okay, now the reason why I've done that is so that we can get our points correctly in. Okay, so what I mean by that is we're going to make extra points. So we're going to make points going this way onto the square and this way onto the square. So you should have 4 points, and we're just going to again make them red so that we can see where our 4 points are going to be. Okay, then once you have got that, we're going to bring those points down. So we're going to have points at the SP, 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 and SP as well. Okay, then we're going to drop all of the points on these edge lines here. So we're going to have the first point here, 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 and here. Okay, and then we are going to go RVP, RVP, and then we're going to go LVP, 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 LVP. Okay, just like this over here. Now we can finally get our points in. So you can see that where these 2 points are touching, we've got a point. So we're going to find those 2 points where they touch, which is over here. We're going to draw in our point. We're going to do the same for the other 2. So these 2 touch at this point here. Then we obviously know that our last points will be at the edges. Okay, so we are going to draw in neat freehand those lines connecting. Okay, and then we can start to make things solid. So we can draw this line as solid, and these top lines here are solid. We're going to draw the back of the circle as solid. Okay, then we want to draw our circle points down like that, because obviously we need to draw the bottom circle. Now you can repeat the process what we did for this circle at the bottom. I'm personally not going to do that. I think that you guys will obviously know how to draw the drawing now, so you won't need help. but I'm just going to freehand it. I don't recommend you do this during your exam, but I'm just doing it so that you can obviously see what the finished drawing looks like. Okay, so I hope this helps you, and good luck for your prelims that are coming up soon.